hit some anytime goal scorers as well as safe shots on goal for some of these goalies. Give me both teams to score in the first period. That's coming in at plus 185 compared to the over 1.5 that is at minus 120. Okay, you guys ready? Let's make some frickin' money. It's time for Puck It with Jo. Good afternoon, everyone. Jo here of SportsGrid. It's time for a Puck It with Jo. Part 2, we went over the first 3 games earlier this morning, and my apologies. I was on in-game live from noon to 2 Eastern, so it's 3 o'clock Eastern here. We have still a full slate of games ahead of us, so I wanted to get into the rest of those games. Just to recap what we were looking at earlier in this earlier 3 games here, and good morning, good afternoon, Mo. Let's make some freaking money. Montreal Canadiens versus the Florida Panthers. I was looking for Montreal to keep this one tight. Now that puck line is out of question right now. Live betting it as they are tied 2-2 apiece, plus 1.5 at minus 280. If you do think Florida is going to pull away in the third period here, you're going to have to lay 1.5 at plus 205. And then we got that total sitting dead on 6.5. So I'm going to stay off of this game because I did want to take Montreal when we saw Florida get up. Unfortunately for myself, I was live on in-game live and was unable to jump in on a number that I did like there for the Montreal Canadiens. So right now I'm just rolling with the plus 1.5 that we originally came in on. Still looking for a goal out of Brad Marchand as well as Cole Caulfield. So if you want to jump in on those goal scorers, that is where I would go. Yeah, let's go, John. Around number 2. For sure, you're going to need a good 3-leg parlay. I love it. Let's go. Let's get this parlay done. So we talked about the Buffalo Sabres and the Washington Capitals, but for anyone who did miss those bets, this puck is dropping right away. I think James Reimer can come out nice and strong for Buffalo. He's got solid numbers versus the Washington Capitals, and Logan Thompson has been hot here for the Caps in the month of March. So definitely, I think both teams can score in the first period. But then things slow down as those goaltenders take a little bit of a hiccup in the first period. Both teams to score in the first period at plus 160. Tage Thompson here for the anytime goal, coming in at plus 200. And Ovi's going to cost you if you want to back him today at minus 115. If you joined me earlier this morning or on in-game live, you know I do think it's a live betting situation once you're starting to get plus money for Ovi. If you miss a minus 115, minus 120 bet, then so be it. If you're willing to lay that juice because you do think Ovi can get those goals, I'm willing to wait, you guys. So do what you want with that. The Capitals so strong at home and so strong versus the Capitals at home, winning their last 3 at home versus the Sabres and their last 6 overall at home. They're also 24-7-6 on the season at home. The Buffalo Sabres, though, I do think James Reimer will keep them in this game longer than expected. He's got a 2.26 goals against average and 13 career starts versus the Capitals. So watch that game. Dylan Strome, another playmaker I would look at. So let's jump into the next one here. The puck's dropping on this one right away. If you didn't catch the earlier show and didn't get your bets in, it's all about the Winnipeg Jets for me. I do think the Jets come out strong and can get 4 goals on the board. You watched them in that last game versus the Devils. Those 4 games came so quick. So look at the Jets team total over 3.5. You're getting that at plus 130. I think Vancouver, Demko, I just don't trust him this season while he's got good numbers versus the Jets. I think he's going to struggle in this one to keep that puck out of the back of his net. At 892 save percentage versus the Jets. The kill is strong here for the Vancouver Canucks, but the Winnipeg Jets, that power play, so impactful at 30.1%. Now, I do think Kyle Connor, becoming a new dad, should be able to get a goal on the board. I'm going to look at him for the goal at plus 125. On the other side, if anything's flowing for Vancouver, you know, Quinn Hughes is going to be part of it. Quinn Hughes for 2 points is an interesting look. It's coming in at plus 285. The last time these teams played back on March 18th, it was a 6-2 win for Vancouver. Quinn Hughes was able to get 2 points in that one. Kyle Connor was held off the board. I think Quinn Hughes does what he did in the last game, but Kyle Connor steps up from that last game. A couple of players with points, goals loading that we're looking to target. Brock Besser, goal number 25 is loading. That's coming in at plus 240, 24 goals, 22 assists in 46 games. DeBrusk has goal number 25 loading as well, 24 goals 19 assists for 43 points. So I did throw together a same game parlay over on the grid earlier. That was the Jets first period, laying a half a goal at plus 136. The Jets over 3.5 goals at plus 138. And then 2 player props that are juicy, but bumps up the odds, which would be, don't bet them separately. Kyle Connor for 1+ point at minus 165 and Quinn Hughes for 1+ point at minus 172. All 4 of those legs, which again are the Jets first period puck line, laying the half a goal, the Jets over 3.5 goals, Kyle Connor for a point and Quinn Hughes for a point. That's coming in at plus 557. So definitely something to note there. Kyle Connor has 88 points on the season, 37 goals and 51 assists. Mark Scheifele has been playing great out there as well. So definitely another playmaker. He got us the goal in the last game. And I apologize if I get distracted. We got Tennessee and Houston underway as we speak. I'm riding the under 57.5 in the first period. And we are sitting right now at 6:46 46 with 42 seconds left. So we're going to hit that under 57 unless those threes keep sinking for Tennessee like we just saw. Let's jump into these games that will be kicking off in the later slate, 4 p.m. Eastern. Plenty of time to get these bets on in for you. The Utah Hockey Club and the Chicago Blackhawks. Let's jump into that one, you guys. Thank you so much for being back here again today as well. Yeah, you got to avoid teams in the last game of a road trip. I do believe that. This is game 6 of the road trip, like we mentioned earlier this morning. And of those 6 games, the 5 games, we've seen 3 of these games go to OT, 2 go to shootout. They were in a shootout last night. So really hard situation for Vancouver to continue to play solid and defensively. Another reason why I like the Winnipeg Jets for that team total. Vancouver's fighting for so much, though, you guys. It is a scary situation here against a team that just has everything to lose by losing these games. The Utah Hockey Club and the Chicago Blackhawks, a team that's completely eliminated like Chicago, is dangerous as well. Spencer Knight expected in goal for them and Vermalka here for the Utah Hockey Club. When I look at this, you look at the lines. Utah is a $2 favorite. They're minus 215 on that money line and plus 176 here for the Chicago Blackhawks. We do have a total of 6.5. The 6.5 is juiced to that under minus 122. You got to wonder how many goals Chicago is going to bring in this game. They've lost their last 2, but they were able to put up 3 goals on the Vegas Golden Knights in their last game out on Friday. When we look at the Utah Hockey Club, they are off a defensive battle versus the Florida Panthers. They did a great job at locking down the Florida Panthers, pushing them to overtime, losing that one 2-1. Vermalka is expected in their net tonight. Now they've lost their last 3. Their last game here on the road of 3 games on the road as well. They have Calgary on deck at home on Tuesday. And when we look at Chicago, they have the Avs on deck on Wednesday. Utah is not mathematically eliminated from the playoff race, but they would need a miracle to get things done. I do think we're going to see Clayton Keller show up in this one looking for goal number 25 out of Clayton Keller. I think is a strong way to go. I do think with the Chicago Blackhawks with nothing to play for, we're going to see that free hockey out there, which will lead to Utah scoring more goals, but also lead to Chicago being able to get something done. 3 goals versus Vegas is pretty impressive because Vegas has a much stronger defense than Utah does. Now, I would look at Connor Bedard, Teravainen, and Tyler Bertuzzi. That's the word I was looking for. Tyler Bertuzzi to be able to get something done out there on the ice for Chicago. So give me the over 6.5. I just think Chicago could be dangerous. You could look at their team total as well to be able to get something done. And with that Montreal game, you are looking at Nick Suzuki scored nice with 3 points today and 2 assists. Okay, I love to see Nick Suzuki's had that big day out there. Did we get Cole Caulfield for the assist on that one? Let me know what happened in that game. So great to see. We've now got Montreal coming in. It's really interesting. If you do play the numbers and like hedging, Montreal now $2 favorite, putting the Florida Panthers at plus 164. If you think Florida is going to be able to answer back, coming in at plus 164 on the Florida Panthers isn't a bad price, you guys, at all, especially if you thought they could get the win in regulation going into this game. I did think Montreal could keep it tight And I missed out on that money line because I never got that number that I was looking for. That total has flown up to 7.5. If this one gets tied up, that 6 goals, 7 only pushes us. The overtime only pushes us to 7. So you got to expect a couple more goals in the third period. They're giving you plus 225 to the over 7.5, though. So they're sure asking me to take that 7.5. You guys know how tempting it can be for me with that plus money, but I'm pretty good sitting where I'm at, just because there's so much going on today. We got so many bets out there. Let's talk the New York Islanders. The New York Islanders are facing up with the Carolina Hurricanes. The puck will drop at 5:10 Eastern in this matchup. Looking at the New York Islanders, they are a huge underdog coming into this one at plus 270. The Carolina Hurricanes are a minus 345 underdog or favorite here, and we've got a total of 5.5, minus 122 to the over and plus 100 to the under. You got to love what Carolina has been able to do at home this season, going 28-8-1. We look at the Islanders. I still don't have that faith in them. They're coming off a game last night in which they made a late push versus the Tampa Bay Lightning. And I do think we could see that late push here, even though they're coming off a game where that third period, they scored 3 goals. There are only 3 goals of that game. You would look for that momentum, but Hoberg coming into net for the New York Islanders tonight. I think Carolina is going to feast. I'd look at Sebastian Aho for that anytime point to come out nice and strong. And Carolina in the first period is where I have to go, because even with Sorokin in goal for the Islanders, we've seen Carolina win the last 6 first periods. With Hoberg in here, I do think that they come out and they dominate. I won't be shocked if Carolina goes up big, like we saw the Tampa Bay Lightning go up big in the last game for the New York Islanders. So give me Carolina first period puck line. Laying a half a goal in that puck line is coming in at plus 102. Like I said, they've won the last 6 first periods versus the Isles. They've also won their last 10 games at home versus the Metro. This is a battle of the Metro here, with the Carolina Hurricanes second in the Metro, 6th in the Metro here for the Islanders. Now, Islanders, again, not mathematically eliminated from playoff contention, so you're going to get the best out of this team. But you look at the Islanders, 72 games with 74 points. Ahead of them, we've got the Columbus Blue Jackets, 72 games with 75 points, 72 games for Montreal with 75 points, and the New York Rangers occupying that last wildcard spot currently, 74 games with 77 points. So they're not out of it, you guys. The Red Wings are sitting behind them with 73 games and 74 points. But in my opinion, it's going to be a hard loss here, at least in the first period for them. Now, are we seeing confirmation that Seth Jarvis is going to be hitting the ice? Because we know he missed the last game out there. I'm just not sure if he is back out there for sure. Okay, we're seeing the books catch up with Jackson Blake. How so? What are the lines moving to on him? I have not looked at his lines. No, Blaine Hudson for the assist. Okay, so we got those assists. Not for Cole Caulfield. That's okay. I didn't have him for assist. Anyway, it's just so nice when you see Suzuki and Caulfield get those points combined, because that's always a good parlay. Let's look here at the Ottawa Senators. The Ottawa Senators taking on the Pittsburgh Penguins. So we're looking at a matchup where I actually wonder what Sidney Crosby is going to bring out there on the ice. The Pittsburgh Penguins have been on this losing streak. They're a plus 122 underdog at home. You guys know I love a home dog, but I can't get behind the Pittsburgh Penguins here. Minus 146 on the money line for the Ottawa Senators. It's so juicy, you guys. We got a total of 6.5, minus 134 to the under. It should be Forsberg versus Tristan Jarry. We're seeing the Ottawa Senators 4th in the Atlantic. They've won their last 2 games. The Columbus Blue Jackets, they beat last night 3-2. The Ottawa Senators on the second night of a back-to-back don't have that slump like we've seen out of other teams. This is just going to get them even more motivated coming into this game. They're strong teams on that second night of a back-to-back. They've actually covered the puck line on the road in their last 6 on the second night of a back-to-back. And yes, some of those they've been the underdog, but I do have faith in them to come out nice and strong in this one. Now, I think you look at the strong start for the Pittsburgh Penguins, though, as well. They lost that last game to the Buffalo Sabres on Thursday, 7-3. This is another game where, the Sabres came out. Tags Thompson got a goal in the first 27 seconds, and we just saw that one fly to start. The Penguins tried to catch up, but they just didn't have enough in the tank to be able to get it done. So I think the Penguins, with losing their last three, come out strong in the first period, hit Forsberg. But I'm expecting here Ottawa to hit Tristan Jarry as well. The over 1.5 and both teams to score in the first period is where I'm going to go in this game. But I also like the Senators full game. I think the Senators full game covering that puck line, laying 1.5. The odds on the puck line right now for the Ottawa Senators laying 1.5 is still sitting at plus 172. And I think it's a really solid way to go. Now, the Penguins, we know that strength in the first period. They have won their last 6 first periods at home, but I'm not counting on it, you guys, because I do think this is probably 1-1 or 2-1 for the Ottawa Senators going into the second. I have more faith in the Senators team than in the Pittsburgh Penguins, but I do have faith in the Penguins to score. I think Sidney Crosby has to come out strong in this game for that first period to be able to cash for us. I'd be looking at Sidney Crosby and Raquel for the point there for the Pittsburgh Penguins. And when we look at the Ottawa Senators, Brady Tkachuk and Drake Batherson for their points tonight. It's a really strong way to go. Now, Drake Batherson, I do think could get a goal because we've seen him get a goal in 5 of the last 6 versus the Pittsburgh Penguins. So I think this is a strong game for him to come out and get it. Now, when we saw the last matchup between these two teams in January, we did see the Ottawa Senators shut out the Pittsburgh Penguins. That's something these teams remember, right? They remember being shut out. So I do look for them to come out nice and strong in that first period, but that's about it that I'm giving the Penguins in this one. So let's get it done. Okay, so plus 160 for Seth Jarvis. Okay, I'm glad to see Seth Jarvis out there on the ice. I'd look at him for that goal at plus 160. You're getting that now. Oh, he's 130 for the point. Yeah, it sucks. Minus 130 for a point. Wow, that's so juicy. Okay, let's move on to Toronto versus the Anaheim Ducks. Which Toronto team will we get? Will we get the team that really lets down in situations like this? We're going to talk about their situational spot. You guys know I'm a situational bettor. Sometimes it doesn't work out for us. Sometimes it really cashes, like the last time that Toronto took on the San Jose Sharks in that situational spot with the Kings on deck. And we saw it. The Sharks were able to get the win and in a shootout win. So the Toronto Maple Leafs last night beat the LA Kings. And then who do they have on deck? The Florida Panthers, who they're battling it out for the Atlantic. They're going to sleep on the Ducks today, and the books are reflecting that in the lines. It's minus 170 here for the Toronto Maple Leafs, plus 140 for the Anaheim Ducks. So, if you just want to stay off it because you don't want to put money on the Anaheim Ducks, I don't blame you. You don't have to bet every game out there, but I do think this is a case where the situation tells me I can't back Toronto. So if I'm not backing Toronto, am I willing to get behind the Ducks? Let's find a way that I'm willing to get behind the Ducks because that's where I like to look. And I do think every game on the icer is a little bit of puck luck. You can look at these teams. You look at the Ducks. They suck on the kill. They suck on the power play. So if you want to back Toronto, look at the power play, right? Like look for them to come out on their power play and be able to convert because Toronto still wants that first place in the Atlantic. So every game means something, but it's a situational spot, right? They got the win over the Kings last night, 3-1. The Panthers are on deck Wednesday. Yes, it is a Sunday and you've got a long time, but they tend to check out versus teams like this, just like they did versus the Sharks. So I'm going to look here at the power play conversion ability for Toronto because you look at overall in the season, Toronto's power play is converting at 26.1%. If you took the alt puck line with me yesterday on the Toronto Maple Leafs, like I told you, there's not many times I can say I love a team. I love them yesterday, took alt puck line, took a risk on them, and they covered it 3-1. Something I totally forgot that we took yesterday, and we did because I'm just looking at my ticket here, cashing. You got great plus money. I hope some of you bet that with me because there's not very many times I love the Toronto Maple Leafs. But looking at that power play, it's 26.5%. In the month of March, that power play is being converting at 41.7% with those conversions last night. We have seen great effort out of the power play. So who would we look at on the power play? Well, we know everything's going to be juiced for Toronto in this matchup. It's so juiced on Austin Matthews, but I do think Austin Matthews would be who I would take for the power play point. I've actually already took it. It's plus 145 for Austin Matthews for the power play point today. It's better than taking him for the goal or just for the 2+ points, even though I think he could get there. I do think this is a higher scoring game. I think the lack of discipline comes tonight on the defensive side because Anaheim is rolling in here off that overtime win versus the New York Rangers on Friday. We've seen their players really step up. And Troy Terry, Killorn, I do think you can have faith in them to come out strong tonight and the Ducks to go over their team total of 2.5. That's where I'm going to go with the Ducks. The team total of 2.5, you got to lay some juice at minus 132, but I think it's a strong way to go. They are the 7th most penalized team in the league. They're only killing 71.3% of those penalties. So if you just want to bet that I feel really great about on the player prop side, it's just looking at the power play points for Toronto here. And Austin Matthews is my number one. You could look at William Nylander. He's coming in at plus 175. So this should be an interesting one for sure. Leo Carlson for the point. Yeah, Leo Carlson has been nice and strong out there for the Ducks at plus 105. You took 2 points for Seth Jarvis. Okay, I like where you're going with Seth Jarvis for those 2+ points. Taking Ottawa money line or in regulation also live. Kevin, yeah, I do think it's a great way to look at the live betting situation as those lines start to move. Because going into it, you're looking at the Ottawa Senators. It's just not the best price on that money line, right? You're looking at the money line coming in at minus 146. If you can get that down to a minus 110, jump on it right away. I do think they end up pulling away with that win in that game. I do think they cover that puck line minus 1.5 at plus 172 as well. So the game's going on right now. Montreal still leading the Florida Panthers 3-2. The Buffalo Sabres and the Washington Capitals 0-0. I need some goals on the board in that one. And I need Winnipeg to score. 11 minutes left in the first period between the Winnipeg Jets and the Vancouver Canucks. Still scoreless in that game. Interesting to note that total has dropped to 4.5. You guys live look at the over 4.5 coming in at minus 138. I think that one has every ability to go over that total. I just don't have the shot on goal props, and I'm just going to look at it right now and see what we're seeing out there for shots on goal. We are seeing Linus Carlson of Vancouver with 2 shots on goal, but I'm not seeing a heck of a lot more for anyone else getting those shots for Vancouver. Kyle Connor has 1 shot. Mark Scheifele has 1 shot. And a couple other players have those shots out there. But we are seeing that defensive start between these teams. Limited shots on goal to start this game. So definitely something that you want to watch for this defensive battle. We're seeing no power plays actually we have seen the Vancouver Canucks go on 2 power plays and yet to be able to get that goal on the power play. So they've had the puck possession for 77% of this game as well. So interesting how this game is playing out to start. Let's move on to the next game here. We finished off with the Toronto Maple Leafs versus the Anaheim Ducks. Let's move on to the San Jose Sharks versus the LA Kings. Last game on deck for us. Now we've got a huge underdog and a huge favorite in this one. And rightly so, right? You look at the San Jose Sharks. This team is eliminated. Nothing to play for, though, which makes them scary at plus 290 on that money line to pull off an upset versus the LA Kings. The LA Kings took another loss last night. We were on the other side, so it felt good. But the LA Kings losing 3 in a row at home, it just doesn't normally happen to this team. They're minus 375 on that money line. We are seeing the spread of 1.5 on that puck line, minus 140 for the Kings. I can't do it. I can't lay minus 140 on a puck line. We got plus 1.5 on the San Jose Sharks at plus 114. And I'd rather go that way, but I do think we'll get a better number in this one. The Sharks have won both the meetings versus the Kings this season. So I think if you want to take a shot on the Kings, instead of laying the puck line, I would just put, some coffee money at plus 290 on the Sharks to get the win instead of playing with the puck line and, only getting plus 114 if they're able to get this win, because it's not going to be easy for them to be able to do it. They have won both meetings this season. The last game was a 7-2 win. I think there's extra motivation here out of the Sharks as well. So they lost last night to the Rangers. The Rangers beat them 6-1. Okay, and then Celebrini goes out to his car after the game. All we're seeing all over social media is the Rangers team bus hit Celebrini's car. I cannot guarantee this is exactly what happened, but I am seeing it everywhere that the Rangers team bus hit Celebrini. Look for Celebrini to have a chip on his shoulder forever versus the New York Rangers now. But for him to take it out a little bit here on the LA Kings, got to be so frustrating to leave a game and see your car has been hit. I do think his mind will still be in this game. He's got 53 points. We know he is the head favorite rookie to get the Calder. So 53 points, 21 goals, 32 assists. But Lane Hudson really chasing him out there. I would look at Celebrini for a nice night. I would look at Tyler Toffoli. You guys know I love parlaying the two of them together for their points to get us great close money. Toffoli has 48 points, 27 goals, and 21 assists. William Eklund has been playing great hockey as well. He's scored a goal in 3 of the last 4 games out there for the San Jose Sharks. So he's got 54 points on the season, 17 goals, and 37 assists. If you put Celebrini, Tyler Toffoli, and William Eklund in a parlay just for a point each, it's plus 264. I absolutely love this when I put it in this morning. So definitely look at that. I do think that the Kings come out in the first period off of that loss last night. They should be able to win the first period, even if it's a 2-1, because we see the San Jose Sharks be able to get one on the board. Romanoff getting the start here for the Sharks. That is a huge concern if you're wanting to back them on the money line. Romanoff has gone 0-1. He's played 1 game. He's coming in relief as well. He's got a 3.09 goals against average and 875 save percentage in the game that he faced Carolina. So he allowed 3 goals on 29 shots. I can't trust him versus a pissed off Kings team. If the Kings had won last night, I would say, okay, this could be a look ahead for the Kings, but the Kings have lost 2 at home. The Kings have the Jets on Tuesday. It's a terrible situational spot for this Kings team. And it's on the road. I could see them losing 3 in a row, you guys. I really could. So if you like the Kings, I'd look puck line first period and then wash your hands of the LA Kings. Get out of this game because I think the Sharks, they're going to be dangerous. And I think if you want a goal scorer, you look at Kempe here for the Kings. Goal number 30 is loading. That's plus 150. If you do think the Kings are going to get several goals, if you think this is a 4-3 win either way, you can look at Kempe for the 2+ points. It's coming in at plus 285. He's got 29 goals, 29 assists. He had 2 shots on goal only last night. That's not like him. In the prior one versus the Avs, he had 4 shots on goal, 0 points in his last 3. So you look at a player that's normally one of our playmakers out there, and you gotta think versus Romanoff, he should be able to come out and get a couple points on the board. So look for that goal number 30, longer shot there on the 2+ points. But then you got Kopitar, Byfield, and Fiala. Fiala has 50 points on the season. He has 12 points in the last 15 games, so Fiala has been playing great. We have Byfield with goal number 20 still loading. We've been watching this for a while. 8 goals in the last 15 games. So Byfield has been racking up those goals. And then Kopitar, 11 points in the last 15 games, 57 points on the season. So definitely playmakers here for the Kings. Is just what mentality they come out with. I'm sure they're pissed off after losing to the Leafs last night. Okay. Cap scored first. Oh, that is music to my ears that the Washington Capitals were able to get that goal on the board. If you guys could let me know who scored for the Washington Capitals, that would be great. I need them to hold this lead here and not allow Buffalo to get back in this game. Everything else is sitting where we had left off the last time with the Washington Capitals up 1-0. Those lines are locked right now, so I can't give you live odds on coming back in on Buffalo, but we still have a 3-2 game between the Montreal Canadiens and the Florida Panthers with a total of 6.5. Now so highly juiced to the under at -164 under the 6.5. The books aren't thinking the Florida Panthers will tie this up, but if you think the Florida Panthers will tie it up, that takes us to overtime, or it's tied 6 goals. Someone scoring is a must. So the over 6.5 at +125. I don't have the game on, you guys, so I can't advise you where to go with that one. Again, we're still seeing those lines locked up. Jacob, okay. Sheeran able to score. That is a great one for him. I think it was like +420 to get the goal today. So that's where we're at. Still locked there in the Capitals game. Vancouver and the Winnipeg Jets. I need the Jets to score in the next 7 minutes here, they're still a $2 favorite, just over $2 favorite at minus 225. Interesting, and this is what I talk about all the time with the line movement, that the books, the overreaction, the Buffalo Sabres down 1 goal are a plus 360 underdog. If you like to play the numbers, jumping on the Buffalo Sabres at plus 2.5 at minus 140 or at plus 360 on that money line, and then hoping they score 2 goals quickly and the Washington Capitals go down, and then you can hedge on the other side. Definitely would be worth a look if you're just wanting to play those numbers out there. But I do think the Capitals should be able to get this win. So let's jump into the recap, you guys. I'll also recap those player props for you as well. So it's going to be a great one. I need more monitor stations. Oh, yeah. So I've got, I didn't put on my other TVs. I'm going to be honest, and I can't grab my remote. As soon as I sat down, I realized I didn't have my other games on, and it's all about March Madness today. We know that, so trying to stay up on what that game was. Let's get into the recap, you guys, and the 2+ points as well. We'll look at all of that, Mo. Recap time. We're starting with Utah because we've already got 3 games in action right now. So the Utah Hockey Club versus the Chicago Blackhawks. I am looking for a higher scoring game between these two. I do think Chicago is dangerous because they're eliminated. They won the last game in overtime versus the Utah Hockey Club 4-3. And I do think we got a very similar game playing out in this one. I'd look at the overtime bet. I'd look at Clayton Keller to come out nice and strong for the Utah Hockey Club. One of these teams has to break their losing streak. More than likely Utah in this game, but I'm not going to take a chance on the side. The New York Islanders and the Carolina Hurricanes. The Islanders backup goaltending in. The Canes have been able to win the last 6 first periods versus the Carolina Hurricanes, versus the New York Islanders. And I do think the Carolina Hurricanes can come out and win the first period again. I'm going to give them the first period laying the half a goal on the puck line at plus 102. Taylor Hall has been really strong for them as of late, scoring those goals, but I would also be looking at Sebastian Aho for the anytime goal or point today for them. The Ottawa Senators versus the Pittsburgh Penguins. Forsberg versus Jari. Now, I do think strong goaltending will come to play. Strong defense will come to play. But this first period, I have a feeling we're going to get both teams getting on the board. The Pittsburgh Penguins have been struggling as of late. They're off that game versus the Sabres, where the Sabres took attack in that first period quick. And I think Ottawa can do the same thing. But for the Pittsburgh Penguins, we know that strength has been that first period. They won their last 6 first periods at home. I'm not willing to take them straight up for the first period win, but I do think it could be a 2-1 win here in the first period for the Ottawa Senators. So give me both teams to score the over 1.5, but the Ottawa Senators to pull away and get the win. The Ottawa Senators minus 1.5 at plus 172. Now, if you don't want to lay the puck line, live betting this, if Sidney Crosby comes out on the ice and scores right away, you're going to get the Sens at a great price instead of almost that minus 150 mark that we're paying. So Sidney Crosby for the point. On the other, and Raquel, you could parlay them together. Other side, it is Brady Tkachuk and Drake Batherson for me. The Toronto Maple Leafs versus the Anaheim Ducks. I think Toronto will come out strong on their power play. I love Austin Matthews for the power play point tonight. It's coming in at plus 145. Their power play in the month of March is unstoppable, 41.7%. So I do think against a team that has the 7th most penalties in the league, as well as one of the worst kills out there, that PK is only 73.1%. You're going to see the conversion for Austin Matthews, William Nylander on the power play. Now, the Toronto Maple Leafs let us down in situations because of the situation they're in off the win versus the Kings with the Florida Panthers on deck on Wednesday. I can't touch this team on the puck line to be able to get the win. They've won the last 5 or 4 meetings versus the Ducks, but they haven't covered the puck line in their last 6 games on the road. I do think the Ducks team total is live over 2.5 goals for the Anaheim Ducks. Minus 134. I think if anything lets down for Toronto, it is their defense tonight versus this hungry Ducks team that's been playing really scrappy. Troy Terry and Alex Killorn is who I would look at for those points. And then last but not least, before we get into the player prop recap, is the San Jose Sharks versus the LA Kings. Romanoff in here for the San Jose Sharks. Again, we've got a situation where The Kings could lose this game. They've lost their last two at home. They're not playing great hockey. They had a tough fought battle last night with the Toronto Maple Leafs. They have the Jets on deck on Tuesday. They're not going to take much into effect for the Sharks who've been eliminated, right? These are where you look for those upsets. But the Kings losing 3 in a row at home is a hard pill to swallow. Look for the Kings to come out strong in that first period, laying a half a goal. And then I think the Sharks end up fighting in this one and making it a tougher game, especially off that loss to the Rangers last night where they were only able to get 1 goal. I'm not willing to jump on the Sharks unless it's just a sprinkle on that money line because the +1.5, they're either winning this game or they're getting blown out by 4 goals. I don't see any in between for the San Jose Sharks. So if you like them for a sprinkle on the money line, it's the only way I would take them other than the player prop, celebrating Toffoli and William Eklund for those points. And then on the other side, we have Kempe for the LA Kings, Kopitar, Byfield, and Fiala would be those points. So let's look at who we're looking at for the points out there. Tags just scored. Yeah, we knew Tags Thompson would score. I needed him to get that goal there because now we did take both teams to score in that one. The Winnipeg Jets game is the one that I need the Jets to come out. Yeah, both teams to score was +260. Tags Thompson was both teams to score was +160. Tags Thompson was +200. So hopefully you guys were able to get in on those bets from earlier today with me. That makes it beautiful. Montreal with the empty netter. Puck line for Montreal. If you had that, God, that would have been absolutely beautiful. So Alex Tuck and JJ for the assist. I like it. Okay, so we got a 4-2 finish for the Montreal Canadiens. Buffalo and Washington. We've cashed that both teams to score. We've cashed Tags Thompson. Let's just look at what Ovi's coming in for his anytime goal. Now, like I said, going into this game, Ovi for the goal was way too juicy. Player props, period, player props, live player props is what we want. Ovi now for an anytime goal is +125. So it's taken it from a -120 bet to a +125 with a period almost all the way under our belt. I would wait longer, but if you want to jump in on Ovi, now is the time because now you're getting plus money for him. So definitely something to watch. 4 minutes left in the first period. As time ticks down in this first period, you're going to start to get even better odds for Ovechkin. I got 4 minutes left before I lose the bet with the Winnipeg Jets. I need them in that first period here to be able to get on the board and keep Vancouver off the board. Now let's look at those player props that I'm liking. We will start with the Utah game. The 2+ points, I do think we're going to see the goals in this one. The 2+ points, I have to look here at Dylan Guenther and Clayton Keller. Now, Clayton Keller is way too juicy for a point. So is Dylan Guenther actually at ±146. Clayton Keller for 2+ is +190. I think he's a strong way to go. And Dylan Guenther, you're going to get way more plus money at +350. Solid way to look at this. If you think Connor Bedard's going to come out strong at home, he's +350 for the 2+ points as well. I would rather just Clayton Keller for Utah. I know it's not as much plus money, but I do think Clayton Keller is a strong way to jump in. Now, the Islanders and Carolina, I'm going to stay off of the 2+ points in this one. You know, I'm looking at Sebastian Aho for the point and the goal today. Taylor Hall, I'd look at as well, but no 2+ points in this. Same with actually the Ottawa Senators. We got to look here at Batherson. I really like what we've seen out of Batherson out there for the Ottawa Senators. I want to see what price they're giving us for Batherson for the 2+ points. He's coming in at +420 for 2+ points. I do think Batherson could get there. He's been so impactful as of late. If you want to go with Brady Tkachuk, it's +285. I think Sidney Crosby and Raquel have every ability to get on the board for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Like I always do, I like parlaying those guys together. So Sidney Crosby and Raquel, it's +123. You got to love when numbers line up like that. So I will be hitting on that. When you look at the Ottawa Senators, Brady Tkachuk and Batherson for a point each is coming in at +156. I think another solid way to go, but I will look at Batherson for the 2+ points. I think that is a great bet. Now, the Anaheim Ducks versus the Toronto Maple Leafs. I said there was times when the Leafs let us down. Like I said, that power play conversion is there. I wouldn't look at the regular points for Toronto because they're too juiced. Even looking at the 2+ points, Austin Matthews only plus 164. Heck no, am I touching that? But again, those power play points, you can look at Austin Matthews like I did at plus 144. If you want to go further down to Nylander and Marner, they're both plus 175. Now, the books, I'm just making sure I'm not wrong here. They have never let me parlay these power play points, which is a mouthful, and they won't. They won't allow you to parlay those power play points, but I do think you look at those power play points to come in nice and strong for the Toronto Maple Leafs. And then the San Jose Sharks versus the LA Kings. I would look at Kempe here for 2+ points. I do think Kempe, if anyone's going to get those 2+ points, at plus 285 for the LA Kings today. But on the other side, a Celebrini for 2+ points. Let me just pull up the odds on FanDuel. Make sure we're getting enough. I want Celebrini at plus 380. If we're not getting plus 380 or better for Celebrini, and I'm just seeing the Jets have 1 minute left to score. Come on, Jets. So San Jose Sharks versus the LA Kings. Okay, those points coming in. 2+ points for Macklin, Celebrini at plus 400. So it is bettable for me at plus 400. And then Kempe's coming in at plus 285. It's actually interesting to see Fiala. You're getting less value at plus 265 out there for Fiala. But those are the bets for today, you guys. I appreciate each and every one of you so very much for being here. The Vancouver Canucks got on the freaking board with 1 minute left. Are you kidding me? Okay. Vancouver is on the board. I'm going to wait, you guys, until we see what these lines are coming back in on for the Jets. I also want to pull up these box score and just see what we're seeing out there on the court. Winnipeg is attacking now with 1 minute left. And if they could score me a couple of quick goals, that would be great to see. But we are still seeing Kyle Connor with only 1 shot on goal. I'm looking at Mark Scheifele. He's won 50% of his face-off. So we've got that face-off being nice and strong looking at these players out there. For Winnipeg, I just can't believe Josh Morrissey has got 2 shots on goal. It's just a matter of time before the Winnipeg Jets come back in this one. I know Vancouver's playing for much. Sutter getting that goal for the Vancouver Canucks. But yeah, we are seeing everything locked up. Tell me Winnipeg scored, you guys. Make my day. I need them to score 2, though. So not going to happen out there. Are you kidding me? Okay, you guys, I'm not sure what that is in regards to, but you guys, all the best in all of your bets. Thank you so much for being here on the daily. It's just a great day to spend it with you guys. Okay, 1 minute left. The lines are not opening. I want to know what the Winnipeg Jets are coming back in on that money line if they're down 1-0. So I also want to look one more time at Ovi for his anytime goal. It's jumped up 10. It's plus 135 now on that money line with this first period coming to an end. So something to watch as Ovi continues to play this game. But looking like the books are not going to give us those lines that I was hoping for, and I don't want to keep you guys any longer. Have a fantastic day to each and every one of you, Larry. It's good to see you here. Let's make some freaking money out there on the hardwood. Houston is up 41-25. If you haven't checked out my Cup of Joe as of yet, between Michigan State and Auburn, it is all in one video. So go on over, check it out. I do have Michigan State advancing. I'm waiting for that money line to get better as it goes on. It's only plus 184 right now on that money line going into the game, but I do think Auburn will go on a run and Michigan State will make a comeback. So wait for like a plus 400 on Michigan State. Definitely think it's worth it. Tom Izzo's going to have his team ready to make a run for the Final Four. So you guys, all the best in all of your bets. I will see you tomorrow. That line's still not coming out between the Vancouver Canucks and the Winnipeg Jets. And my TV is asking me if I'm still watching because I have been here all day. So wish I had the other remotes. You guys, all the best in all of your bets. We'll see you tomorrow. Hit some anytime goal scorers as well as safe shots on goal for some of the